Man, let's talk a little bit about writing because you did have to kind of churn out those bro country songs that you don't really care about. They're not feeding your creativity or your soul or anything like that. Now you're kind of finding Texas. Is there a relearning process for you in going from the cookie cutter stuff that Nashville churns out at times to back to what you really love?
There was. I mean, it started in Nashville. That's when I really, really had to start trying to get myself back on track and just finding depth in songs and really just not letting a line slide or something. But like me and Trent, we were tickled to death when we made Neon Town. Most of that record, some of them songs were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. They were too country, and I couldn't record them. So the good news was I had written some great songs that never got to be heard while I took this time. I mean, I think I was in Texas 2, maybe 3 years before I even tried to write a song. Um, I'd went to some writer retreats and I was in a writing room, but even then, I had told myself, I was like, I'm going to go understand Texas. You know, if they sing about this, I want to go experience it and understand why they sing about it. Just like I talk about with, these people that are not country want to come to country music. I was like, if I'm going to go invade a new scene and a new territory, then I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I want to know what this stuff's about. And so I really just getting experience in life and just seeing different things, it just opened up my broadness for content, if anything else.
Yeah.
I always laugh. I said, man, everybody talks about all these Nashville songs. They're all about hooking up and getting drunk. And I'm like, well, that's all you do. I mean, you go write a song, you go out with your buddies, you get drunk, see what you can take home, wake up, work out, sweat it out, and repeat. What else have you got to write about if that's your entire life, And
Yep.
so moving out here, getting married, having a ranch, having cattle, having a kid on the way. It's just, it's definitely broadened to where it's not so much I had to reteach myself. I just had to find content that actually made me want to write it again.
Yeah, you just had to live a different life, right?
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I love that. So another thing you talked about, man, I love how you feed me right into my next part of the outline here that I have. But, one of the things you chatted about was kind of paying your dues in Nashville, getting on the bus, with anybody that would let you go on the road, and
Mm.
and you talked about networking too, for other people like Post Malone. That's really important in Nashville. You have to talk to as many people as you can and get yourself into as many rooms as you can. But now
Mhm.
you're in Texas. Do you feel like there was a process where you kind of had to repay your dues once you got to Texas?
Well, I think you never stop paying your dues, if I'm being honest, because I look at stuff I look back at my days in Arkansas playing clubs on the weekend. I'm paying my dues. And
Yep.
then you move to Nashville and you play Broadway and you're like, oh, I'm paying my dues. And then you're a struggling writer and can't pay the bills, but you're doing all the being out every night and being seen. I'm paying my dues. And then you really get out on the road and you really start having to realize that it's about the fans and trying to make. So, I mean, it's just, I'm sure right now I think I'm paying my dues and I'm going to hit some new level that I realize that, man, that wasn't nothing yet either. But
Hmm.
it's, I just feel like it's new layers every time. I mean, that first year of Broadway taught me how to be a true musician. That first publishing and record deal got me in the room with real writers, and I learned how to be a writer. Getting out on the road made me learn how to truly tour and truly be an artist and do it for the people out there in front of the audience and not for myself. And then, you know, all the bad record deals and the contracts made me learn the business side.
Hmm.
So it's just, I don't know. You're always learning, and I think as long as you keep that mentality, man, you can go as far in this business as you want to.
I think really the bigger you get or the more recognition you get, really it's not really going to affect you personally. I don't think as an artist. I think the best way to put it, at least from like my perspective as a fan, is you just have more people on the team. There's less that you
There
have to
is,
do outside of the music. Maybe you don't have to promote as much. Maybe you don't have to make
yeah,
a flyer for a show anymore. Or,
yeah,
I don't want to say small stuff like that because it's not small. All of that stuff is important. But
yeah.
like the more recognition you get, the more success you have, the less of those types of things you have to do, right?
Well, you're able to delegate tasks, but you still have to be on top of it. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know. There may be
absolutely.
s- there may be some artists out there that don't do anything but show up and sing, and man, kudos to you. But I just back to the learning that not everybody's a good person.
Yep.
There's a lot of snakes in the grass, and sometimes you hire them, and you have to realize that they're taking from you, stealing from you, or not. You're not in their best interest in order to figure that out. I've dealt with that just since I've been in Texas.
Mhm.
I've dealt with a lot in Nashville, so I I think the biggest thing is, as an artist, when you realize that you are running a business, it changes your whole mentality. I mean, I'll never forget. I was at lunch sometime there back in my Nashville days, and it was with Keith Anderson and another writer named Arliss Albritton.
Mhm.
And Keith was ranting about something on the business, and he just goes, "It's the music business, business." And I mean, I'm just the young kid sitting there eating my taco, just not really in the conversation. But that was the day that the light bulb just clicked. I was like, man, I can write all the songs I want and be the best singer, but if I'm not paying attention to this business side, then what the heck am I doing? And so that it is. It's a full time job, man. I mean, there's never, my guys saying, why are you so wore out and whatever? I said, because y'all see me on the touring side that we kill ourselves on the weekend. Then I get home and it's back to running this whole organization Monday through whatever day we leave. I'm always in a hurry to get home, Saturday night or Sunday morning, because I said, whatever time I get home on Sunday, that's the only break I get is that day. And I'm sure the wife's going to have something for me to do when I get here too.
So I share a mentor with Little Texas, the uber big country band, and his name was Uncle Dallas. I got his tattoo right here, and his signature on my arm. But he passed away, but he was one of my mentors, and he used to always say that playing the music is the easiest part.
Oh, it is, man. When you step on that stage, that's what it's all for. I mean, you kill yourself and go through the ringer of the things that we do for that moment. That's what it's all about. And, that was part of the troubles I had early on in moving here was, you had to get to a point where you could get guys that saw the vision and want to be a part of it and weren't just there for the girls, the buzz and the whatever, and because I got to a point where, I mean, by the time I stepped on stage, I was so worn out, I didn't even have anything to give. And so it's, you have to center it around that. I mean, you get to where if that part's not even fun, then what are you doing?
Well, it's such a dangerous business, not just for physical health, but also emotional and mental health, right?
Man, I heard somebody do a podcast, and there was a little clip of it, and I heard them say, if any other person put the amount of effort and work into what we do, they'd be a millionaire by now. And I was like, holy heck, that just hit me hard,
It's true.
because it is. I mean, you come. I always say, man, this business is a roller coaster of emotions, man. One minute you got something clicking, you're like, here we go, and you're on cloud nine, and then the bottom falls out, and you're back to scrambling. And I mean, it don't matter what level you are. I remember having conversations with guys that I was dreaming to be where they are, and I just don't know what to do. I don't know what the next step is. I mean, you just never know. I mean, I heard a songwriter the other day talking about George Strait when he recorded Run, told him, thank you for saving my career. It's like, there's a time that George Strait thought his career was over, so it just goes to show, man, it's tough. And I mean, with social media now, it's even tougher, man. People have direct contact to dog on you, or you're constantly seeing,
plus the DIY stuff, right? Like everybody's got a bathroom studio as well, right? So like
it is. And it's just, you watch a kid that couldn't even put 20 people in a venue all of a sudden have something go viral on TikTok. Now they're selling out arena. It's just so the mind F part of it. It does, man. You have to finally. I told myself I got to quit. If I'm looking at other artists and stuff for ideas of content or things that maybe we should try or do, that's cool. But I was like, you got to quit comparing yourself to the next guy, because it's not like it was in the Nashville days in radio where you had 40 spots for a radio play. And if you're one of them artists, you get heard. Now, my phrase I always use is the great thing about the internet is everybody can be heard. The bad news is everybody can be heard. So it's
and I mean, you can be heard somewhere other than the traditional areas like terrestrial radio too, and become just as big. I mean, you just never know if the right internet station or whatever, the right content creator in Belgium plays your song one night, you could end up with 1 million streams just off of that, right? Or like just somebody somewhere else in the world adds you to the right playlist. It's just such a weird time to be alive as a music fan and an artist. It's just so cool.
I mean, look at Keep Up with the Cowgirl. I mean, that song out of nowhere, the sound itself goes viral 2 years after the song was out. And all of a sudden it goes from a couple of 100,000 plays to all of a sudden there's 2 million streams on Spotify alone.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about, man.